Good evening and welcome to Angel's Haven. I have been working on my porch outside, but it's not done, so I've just been sort of taking little video clips as we go along, and when we get it done, then I'll string them all together and make something for you to see. In the meantime, I wanted to catch you up on what's going on with my actual tiny house because I have an object lesson. So, if you know me personally, you know that my house was built by a carpenter in Kansas City, not by a tiny house company. And the carpenter uh, originally put a propane on demand hot water heater in my house, which died after maybe a year and a half. That propane on demand hot water heater was replaced by a gentleman who lived here at the time with a brand called Precision Temp. I was very happy with it for the first 2.5 years. And in 2022, we had a power failure here at Park Delta Bay where I'm parked. And at the same time, we had an uncharacteristic cold spell. At the time, usually when there's a power failure, we don't have water here because the pump goes out. I don't have a freshwater holding tank, and so when the park's pump goes out, I don't have water. So on this occasion, or I don't have running water. On this occasion, when the power was out, it was out for a while. It was out everywhere because of this uncharacteristic cold snap, and there were storms and ice, which is wildly strange for this area. And when the power came back on, and the water came back on, I went to take a shower or run water for something, I can't remember. And there was ice in my freshwater line, and it came up the freshwater line and zapped my Precision Temp on demand propane hot water heater. So it had just gone off warranty, but they covered it anyway. Fast forward to 2024, and my hot water heater went out, which seemed odd since we had just repaired it maybe a year and a half before. And of course, now it was way out of warranty. So there's a gentleman who lives here who is also a plumber, and he got on the phone with the company, and they figured out what was wrong, and I bought the parts and Tom replaced them. So then another year or so, a little less than a year maybe, went by. In December of 2025, the dang thing went out again. So I reached out to the company again to do the troubleshooting, and they had been sold. And so they're now owned by a Canada company, a company in Canada. And don't hold me to these dates because none of us can remember without looking up exactly when all this happened, but they had been sold. The tech support guy with whom we spoke the year before had just been hired by the new company, so he talked to us again. It was the same part that we had just replaced. I bought it again. This time it was shipped from Canada. That was 5 months ago. And a week ago it went out again. So I have been without hot water for about a week. I have water, but no hot water. The first 4 or 5 days, it was off on, never hot, warm, cold, warm, cold. And now it doesn't work at all. we reached back out to the same tech support guy, only this time he seems to be talking to us a little more openly, maybe. I guess he knows us better. He's being honest about it. He's not really sure what it is. He's always seemed a little standoffish, maybe, but I guess we've talked to him so many times that now it's just like, oh, hi, how are you, kind of thing. So we really don't know what it is, and he doesn't know what it is. And it was a very expensive hot water heater, and it's even more expensive now because the company's in Canada now. And they don't make this hot water heater. They basically, a hot water heater company bought this company, and they're not making the one I have, they're making their own. So if I want to buy from this company, I buy from the Canada people and pay the tariffs and all that, which obviously I'm not going to do. This guy thinks it's the circuit board. He's sending us a circuit board. If it works, I'm going to pay for it. If it doesn't work, I'm sending it back. All I had to pay was the shipping, which was $100. So, object lesson here. If you're designing a tiny house, on-demand hot water heater is definitely the way to go. My on-demand hot water heater, for reasons I don't understand, is put in on the outside of the house, not the inside. So there's a panel, and you lift it down, and there it is. I don't think that has anything to do with why it's breaking down. It's a built-in recess. They built it into the house. But it does make it a little hard to deal with. And more importantly, most of them are not like that, apparently. I didn't know this. And so now, if I have to buy a new one, the way that it's plumbed is not going to work. And I don't know if plumbed is the right word. Don't quote me on that. But the way it's configured doesn't work. So there are 5 other people in the park that have on-demand hot water heaters, maybe 6. But there are 5 who have the same on-demand hot water heater, the same type. And one of them has an extra one that's never been used, I guess because they own 2 rigs, and they just decided not to install it in the second rig. And I could buy his brand new that he's not using, but it doesn't work with the way my on-demand hot water heater was configured, which apparently is unusual. The object lesson really is to pay attention to details. If you're going to pay somebody to build a tiny house, talk to them about those details so that you know why they're done that way, what the options are, what the pros and cons of each option are. If you look up here at the light, that light, there's another one above me, and then there's another one straight above me, which I've got turned off. Thank you to the person who told me to turn it off before I videotaped, whose name shall not be uttered because he doesn't want me to say his name on tape. But anyway, I had no input into things like where the lights were situated, what kind of lights they are. And so as a consequence, I don't have it on right now, but in my drop loft, there's a LED light. I don't think you could, yeah, it's off, but it's right in the middle of it's like on a beam, and it's wider than the beam. And the same thing is true in the bathroom. There's a round LED light like that one up there that's on a beam, and it's wider than the beam, so it looks really janky. Those details, I didn't even know what details there were. Bear in mind, I didn't have a tiny house builder. I just had a carpenter. but he made those decisions, and he didn't ask me. Um, you need to work very closely with whoever builds your house, and it's okay to hire a carpenter. He did a great job. You don't have to hire a tiny house company, but whoever builds it for you, uh, they need to make a list of all the decisions that are going to have to be made: type of light fixture, type of hot water heater, type of heating, type of windows. That was another thing. When my house was being built, the carpenter that built it at the time owned a window company, and he was building my house at the window company. Like, it was a big, I don't know, it wasn't a factory, but it was like a big building, and the windows were made inside the building. And I went there, and the windows in my house were in. I was just looking at it. It was at a phase of building. And the biggest window in the house, which is maybe 3 feet high and 4 feet wide, or 4 feet high and 3 feet wide, don't quote me on that, was non-operational. So it was just a pane of glass. I said, you can't have a big window that's non-operational. That's crazy. It's a tiny house. You have to have windows. That wall behind me, the wall where the kitchen sink is, I didn't want to have a window because I had a big piece of art. Can you see it? Wait, where's the big piece of art? There it is, which is Genevieve's photograph. And I wanted to have my dishes on that wall and that big piece of art. So the other window, which is here, when I saw the window, it was a non-functional window. No bueno. So I made him take it out and put in a functional window. Okay, now you're weird again. But the point is, if you're having a tiny house built, make a list of all the decisions in every area of your tiny house. Which direction the windows open was really important to me. I don't have a lot of strength for that motion, but I have enough strength for that motion. So my windows had to open back to forth. No, back and forth, side to side, not up and down. There's a window on my stairwell. I think I'm reversed. Yeah, it's on the stairwell. Let me show it to you. That window up there, that is also a non-functioning window. I would like to replace it with a functioning window. Pardon me for giving you a beautiful view of my chin. When I didn't sleep upstairs, when I slept downstairs, it was okay that window didn't function, but the windows in my what is now my sleeping loft, my bedroom, are too small for me to get out if there's a fire. And besides that, I would like a whole nother functioning window. And I didn't know that window was going to be non-functioning. I've tried to find a standard window that fits that size and just have somebody swap it out. But the guy owned a window company, and all the windows are non-standard size. Halfway through the build of my tiny house, he lost his window company. It was really traumatic. I got a call from him one day saying, I have to give you your money back. And I said, what do you mean you have to give me my money back? And he said, well, my investors took over my company. I don't have anywhere to finish your house. I said, okay, we'll figure this out, but you're going to finish my house. So there was a big drama around that, and he finished my house. But the window company, I don't think it exists anymore. I tried to find them to see if they had the size of window that would go in that transom, but I couldn't find them. So They either changed the name or moved it or closed it or something. Might have closed in the pandemic. But at any rate, I didn't have input into those decisions. I didn't even know what the decisions were. So if you're having a tiny house built, make a list of everything about the house that is important to either to you or just generally, and make sure that no decision is made that you don't influence or that you don't make. I mean, they might say, here are the things we recommend, and this is why we recommend them, and then pick from those decisions. I didn't get to do a lot of that. I think I've mentioned that I only figured out, a couple years after I was here, that all the boards in the ceiling were stapled in as opposed to being put in with a brad nailer. The boards on the walls, my whole house is wood, in case you don't know. There's wood everywhere, and I love it. That's exactly what I asked for. But the wall boards are put up with a brad nailer so you can't see them, but the ceiling is put up with a staple gun. And when I figured that out, I was hysterical. Make decisions. Make good decisions. So I made a decision about 2 months ago to order a pen off the internet. I write with cartridge and fountain pens, and because I order them, then I get advertisements for them, because it's in my search history. My favorite pens are Lamy pens, Lamy. There are fancier pens, but I like I like metal barrels and a medium point, and I use cartridge. I'm a baby. I don't want to refill a fountain pen. I have fountain pens. Some of the fountain pens I have I've converted to cartridge, or vice versa. I can't remember how it works. But I got an advertisement for a retractable cartridge pen. And I used to have a retractable Lamy, and it fell apart. And again, that's Lamy. I don't really know how you pronounce it. But I used to have a retractable one, but it fell apart, and I returned it, and they gave me the money back. It had a plastic barrel. That's probably why it fell apart. And I got an advertisement for a retractable cartridge pen. It was not expensive, and I thought, oh, I'm going to take a chance. I get email advertisements for cartridge pens all the time. Fancy ones, cheap ones, expensive ones, fountain cartridge, because I love fountain pens, and I've ordered 3 or 4 off the internet, or more, maybe more. So I ordered one, and then after I ordered it, I thought, I didn't research the company from which I ordered it, which I usually do. I think it was $20, and which is not a lot for a pen. You can pay $2,000 for a pen. I never would, but you could. Maybe not $2,000. Maybe if it was a Mont Blanc. But the most I've paid for a cartridge pen or a fountain pen, it's probably $100, and I only have one that is that expensive. The one I use every day costs $50, which is a lot for a pen, but not a lot for a cartridge pen. So after I realized that I, on a wild hair, ordered this cartridge pen from a company of which I'd never heard, I looked into the company, and it turned out to be not a reputable company. Let's just put it that way. Well, that was 2 months ago. And they send you these tracing notices because I sent an inquiry because I didn't have the pen. And they sent me these tracing notices, and it said things like, oh, it's just left the port of whatever, or some company. I'm like, oh yeah, like my pen is in the port of whatever. I think it went from the port of Hungary to the port of Poland to the Ukraine. I mean, it was just like crazy. It was nonsense, of course. And I looked up the registered agent of the company, and it was registered in Illinois. So I filed a complaint with the Illinois Secretary of State, whoever handles their consumer complaints. And yesterday, lo and behold, I got a package in the mail. And it came from, oh no, I take it back. Were they in Illinois? No. They were in Colorado. Yeah, they were in Colorado Springs. So this is why I was confused. So yesterday I get a package from Illinois, from Elk Grove Village, Illinois, from a guy named Dave Garzaz. And I was like, I have no idea who this is. Elk Grove Village, Illinois. I have no idea where that is. And I thought, well, maybe my son sent me something. And I wasn't thinking about the pen because the pen was from Colorado, right? And it was from all these other countries. So I opened it up, and sure enough, it's the pen. And I don't know if you can see it, but every bit of the packaging, every bit is in, I want to say Chinese. I haven't Google Lensed it. I haven't opened it yet. But it is, in fact, a retractable pen, cartridge pen. And you can't tell because there's this big label on the back, but it's supposed to come with a box of cartridges. Oh yeah, you can see it there. They're in there. And it does say open. That's the one, as far as I can tell, that word open right there is the only English on this label. It says, there's a little, see that circle with the line through it? There's a little drawing of what I think is supposed to be a child. And it says 0 to 3. And so I think this means that children 0 to 3 should not use this cartridge, which is hysterical. So, the object lesson is, know what you're getting into. Don't hire anybody that you don't know what they're going to do. Don't buy things that you're not really sure where they're going to originate. China, Hungary, Poland, the port of whatever. In the end, it was Elk Grove Village, Illinois. I'm sure the guy just bought them at the dollar store or something. So I'm going to open it. If it works, I'll be happy. And I'll let the Secretary of State of Colorado know that it arrived and it works. But check out what you're buying. Somewhere on my YouTube channel, there is a review of the Precision Temp on-demand hot water heater. I'm going to take it down. I think in its day it was good, but they obviously don't exist anymore. They're just I guess a distributor for the Canadian group now or something. I don't know. Be very careful who you deal with. Make all your decisions. If you're building a tiny house, make sure you know what you're doing. And I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. And I'll write you a letter. Thanks for spending a few minutes of my tiny life with me. And I'll see you next time.